Good evening. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Now I want you to let go of the noise of the day. Let go of the doubt, the fear, the limitations. Because tonight, we speak truth into our lives. Tonight, we plant seeds of wealth, of success, of radiant health. You are not here by accident. You are here because something inside of you knows that you were meant for more, that you were born to thrive. That abundance is not just a dream, it is your right. Starting right now, we reprogram the mind. We let go of scarcity. We welcome wealth. We welcome success. We welcome overflowing health. Say it with me: I am wealthy. I am worthy. I am ready. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is the beginning of everything you asked for. Wealth begins in the mind before it manifests in reality. This idea is not just a poetic metaphor or a motivational slogan. It is a principle grounded in psychology, neuroscience, and centuries of observation. The concept suggests that true wealth, sustainable, meaningful, and expansive wealth, first takes root in the way we think, the beliefs we hold, and the mindset we choose to adopt each day. Before any bank account grows, before any business scales, and before any opportunity shows up at our doorstep, there is a mental foundation that must be laid. The human mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping our external world through internal decisions. Everything that exists in the material world was first conceived as a thought. Buildings were once blueprints. Fortunes were once dreams. Empires were once ideas. This applies equally to financial abundance. The beliefs we carry about money, success, and our own worthiness to receive them play a critical role in determining whether or not we experience wealth in our lifetime. From an early age, we are conditioned with certain ideas about money. Some are positive, but many are limiting. Perhaps you grew up hearing phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Rich people are greedy," or "We can't afford that." These statements, when repeated often enough, don't just float in one ear and out the other. They sink into the subconscious and create a mental framework that defines how we relate to money. This framework can either empower us or imprison us. The problem is that most people are unaware of the beliefs they hold. They go through life unconsciously sabotaging their own financial growth, because deep down, they don't believe they deserve wealth, or that it's attainable for people like them. Neuroscience shows that the brain has neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself based on repeated thoughts and behaviors. This means we are not doomed to repeat our past programming. If we want to change our financial reality, we must start by changing our thoughts. By consistently feeding the mind with empowering beliefs, affirmations, and new patterns of thinking, we begin to shift our mental state from scarcity to abundance. When the mind truly believes something is possible, it begins to find evidence to support that belief. This is known as the reticular activating system, a part of the brain that filters information and helps us notice what aligns with our focus. If we are focused on lack, we will see more lack. If we are focused on abundance, we begin to see opportunities, solutions, and ideas that were always there but previously ignored. Affirmations are one way to reprogram the subconscious mind. By repeating statements like, "I am wealthy," "Money flows to me effortlessly," or "I am a magnet for abundance," we begin to overwrite the old scripts running in the background. It might feel awkward or even untrue at first, especially if your current financial situation doesn't reflect those affirmations. But that's the point. You are not affirming your present, you are affirming your future. You are teaching your mind a new language, one that it needs to learn in order to produce new results. Over time, as these affirmations are internalized, they begin to change your behavior, decisions, and expectations, all of which contribute to your external wealth. Visualization is another powerful mental tool. Athletes use it to prepare for competitions, seeing themselves winning races before they even step on the track. In the same way, successful entrepreneurs and wealthy individuals often visualize their financial goals with clarity and emotion. They don't just wish for wealth, they see it, feel it, and act as though it's already theirs. This kind of mental rehearsal prepares the brain to accept and pursue what the person desires. It builds confidence and reduces resistance, because the mind begins to treat the visualized success as familiar, rather than foreign or unlikely. Mindset also influences resilience. The journey to wealth is rarely smooth. There are setbacks, failures, rejections, and unexpected detours. A person with a poor money mindset may interpret these obstacles as signs that they are not meant to be wealthy. They might give up, shrink back, or settle for less. But someone who understands that wealth begins in the mind will use challenges as stepping stones. They will learn, adapt, and persist because they know that their internal reality is still aligned with abundance, even if their external circumstances are temporarily misaligned. Gratitude is another cornerstone of a wealthy mindset. It may seem counterintuitive, but being thankful for what you already have creates an emotional state of abundance. When you focus on what's going right, what you've achieved, and what resources you currently have, even if limited, you reinforce the belief that you are already on the path to wealth. Gratitude shifts your energy from lack to fullness. It prevents the desperation and fear that often repel financial opportunities. When you are truly grateful, you become a better steward of money, more generous, and more open to receiving. Many people make the mistake of thinking that wealth is only about money. But wealth is a state of being. It includes health, relationships, purpose, time, freedom, and emotional well-being. A wealthy mind seeks holistic abundance, not just a big paycheck or a fancy lifestyle. True wealth means having the freedom to live on your own terms, the energy to enjoy it, and the peace of mind that comes with inner alignment. That kind of wealth cannot be sustained without a strong mental foundation. Scarcity thinking is a major block to this kind of wealth. When we operate from a place of fear, fear of losing money, fear of not having enough, fear of being judged, we make short-term decisions that sabotage long-term success. Scarcity thinking leads to hoarding, overworking, undercharging, and constant stress. It creates a sense of competition rather than collaboration. But a wealthy mind knows there is more than enough to go around. It trusts in the flow of life, in the expansion of value, and in the infinite possibilities that exist when we tap into creativity and purpose. The language we use around money also reveals our mindset. Phrases like, "I can't afford it," "That's too expensive," or "I'll never be rich" may feel like harmless expressions, but they reinforce limitations. A person with a wealthy mindset rephrases these thoughts into empowering alternatives. Instead of, "I can't afford it," they might say, "How can I afford it?" Instead of, "That's too expensive," they say, "That's not a priority for me right now." These subtle shifts in language shape new neural pathways and begin to create new financial outcomes. Surrounding yourself with the right environment is another key element in cultivating a wealthy mind. Just as a plant needs sunlight, water, and good soil, your mind needs nourishment. That includes reading books on abundance, listening to financial education, spending time with people who have a healthy relationship with money, and limiting exposure to negativity or scarcity-based media. When you immerse yourself in an atmosphere of growth and prosperity, it becomes easier to adopt the thoughts and behaviors that lead to wealth. Self-worth is also directly tied to financial success. Many people undercharge for their services, settle for low-paying jobs, or avoid asking for what they deserve, not because they lack skill or talent, but because they don't believe they are worthy. A wealthy mindset recognizes inherent value. It doesn't apologize for wanting more, and it doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. It understands that money is simply a tool, an amplifier of who you are, and a means to create impact. When you believe in your worth, you begin to attract and accept more compensation, recognition, and opportunity. Fear of failure is another mental block that prevents people from pursuing wealth. A person with a fixed mindset views failure as a reflection of their identity, while a wealthy mind sees failure as feedback. Every successful person has failed, often more times than they've succeeded. The difference is that they didn't allow failure to define them. They used it to grow, to refine their strategy, and to build resilience. When the mind is conditioned to see failure as part of the process, it removes the fear of trying. And trying is the first step toward achieving anything meaningful. including wealth. Ultimately, wealth begins in the mind because the mind governs all other aspects of life. It decides what we believe, how we behave, and what we allow ourselves to receive. Before money enters your bank account, it must first be welcomed into your belief system. Before abundance shows up in your business or career, it must first be accepted as a possibility in your inner world. Thought precedes reality. Belief precedes manifestation. The mind is the soil from which every external result grows. Wealth begins in the mind before it manifests in reality. This statement may sound simple, but it carries immense depth and power. To truly understand it, we must journey inward, into the hidden chambers of belief, thought, desire, and identity. It's there, in the mind's realm, that the seeds of prosperity germinate, long before a bank balance reflects them, long before a material success appears. Those inner seeds must be nurtured, nourished, and cultivated, otherwise they remain dormant. Ideas without life, dreams without roots. We often look outward when we think of wealth. The car, the house, the bank account, the investments, the business deals we close. Yet all of those are secondary. All of them are merely the outward expression, the shadow, of first what happened inside us. Before you ever command money, you must command your thoughts. Before you ever generate resources, your beliefs must generate possibility. The real currency is not dollar bills or gold, but the currency of faith, identity, expectation, inner perception. If your internal landscape is barren, filled with doubt, limitation, fear, or scarcity, then no external prosperity can survive there. Every success, no matter how grand, will fight resistance. It will leak, it will falter, it will slip through your fingers like sand. You may accumulate wealth, but you won't live in it. You'll always feel on the edge, always on guard, always wondering whether it will disappear. Because your subconscious mind is still telling you, you don't deserve it. You're not enough. This is temporary. On the contrary, when your mind is fertile, rich with possibility, belief, confidence, and expectancy, external wealth emerges naturally. You begin to see opportunities that others miss. You act decisively. You risk in inspired ways. You invest, you grow, you multiply. More importantly, you attract, magnetize, and collaborate. You become a channel of abundance, not just a collector of it. Consider every time a great business, innovation, or wealth building path is birthed, it always began first as a thought, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a bold vision. Someone imagined that product, that service, that company, that model, sometimes when everyone else said it was impossible. But the mind that believed it first was what gave birth. The path, the resources, the team, all that followed. This is why affirmations, visualizations, mental rehearsals, and mindset work are not fluffy or optional. They are foundational. They are the soil, light, water, and nutrients of the inner world. If you skip that, you go into battle unprepared. You may fight hard, but you're fighting with half your arsenal. When you speak a phrase like, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I attract prosperity, you're not just repeating words. You're reprogramming neural pathways. You're issuing commands to your subconscious. You're shifting identity. Over time, those phrases rewire how you perceive yourself and how your mind filters possibilities. Once your subconscious accepts new truths, it begins to influence your feelings, your actions, your choices, even your bodily chemistry, to align with that new truth. It is important to understand that the mind is not neutral. If you do not plant a wealth, conscious mindset, another will grow, usually scarcity, fear, caution, and constraint. Your mind will default to the majority narratives you absorbed in childhood, culture, society, friends, family. Perhaps you heard, money doesn't grow on trees. Or, you're lucky if you make it. Those voices echo in your mind unless you replace or override them with stronger, healthier beliefs. That's why so many people do everything right externally, work hard, save, try to invest, yet struggle, because their internal settings are still set to lack, limitation, or play small. To shift, you must do more than wish. You must engage in relentless inner work. You must notice your thoughts. You must question them. You must uproot beliefs that contradict abundance. You must replace them with beliefs of possibility, service, growth, prosperity. In your mind's theater, you must cast yourself as the hero, not the victim. You must envision, day by day, exactly who you are becoming: a wealthy, healthy, impactful individual. As you consistently do that, your decisions strengthen. What you accept, reject, invest, risk, all these begin to flow more fluidly. Doors begin opening. You recognize patterns. You sense connections. You act before others even see the path. That is the power of an aligned mind. In a way, your conscious mind gradually becomes the architect, and your subconscious becomes the builder. To illustrate, imagine two people each receiving $1 million contract. One believes deep down they are undeserving of wealth. They will worry, hide, hoard, spend impulsively, sabotage success. That contract might vanish, or degrade into stress. The other knows themselves as worthy, abundant, connected to purpose. They'll steward it, invest it, multiply it, let it amplify. The million becomes 10 million. Why? Because the mind's orientation determines how resources flow. Health also responds to this principle. The body is a reflection of your inner signals. If your mind expects vitality, strength, healing, then your body mobilizes itself accordingly. If your mind expects disease, deterioration, limitation, even wealth will feel hollow, because the vessel, your body, cannot enjoy it. So when you declare, "I am wealthy," also mean, "I am healthy, I am strong, I am vibrant." Let money and vitality coexist, for one without the other is imbalance. This inner alignment must be practiced nightly, daily, moment by moment. Repetition is not mundane. Repetition is ritual, building a fortress of belief. Each night when you affirm, you plant seeds in the soil of your subconscious while it's most receptive. Let those seeds grow. Feed them with vision, feeling, conviction. Over time, your subconscious will surprise you. It will start orchestrating life for your benefit: doors, people, synchronicities, ideas. But also be patient. Just because the mind conceives it doesn't mean the body and world will reflect it instantly. Sometimes the inner gives birth slowly. Sometimes roots must deepen in silence before the shoot springs forth. Resist discouragement. If you see no evidence yet, good. It means the work is happening beneath the surface, building foundations you cannot yet see. Don't abandon the process. Part of nurturing the mind is self-watching. Catch when a thought says, "I can't. This won't last. It's too risky." Stand guard. Replace those intruders with affirmation. For example, "I choose possibility. Every setback is training. I trust abundance." Over time, your inner guard becomes vigilant, rejecting sabotage, welcoming growth. Your environment also matters, because environment can stimulate or suppress your inner beliefs. Surround yourself with people, media, books that reinforce wealth consciousness. Avoid environments that whisper doubt, envy, scarcity. Let your mind absorb signals of prosperity, stories of successful people, evidence of abundance, examples of service and growth. Your subconscious is always listening. Feed it wisely. Another point: wealth in the mind is not about greed or accumulation alone. True wealth mindset understands that money is a tool, a force for freedom, for service, for impact, for creativity. The mind that conceives wealth purely for ego is shallow, unstable. The mind that conceives wealth as expression, as resource for good, as capacity to bless others, that kind of wealth is sustainable. It attracts deeper loyalty, collaboration, alignment, purpose. When your mind believes abundance, your energy changes, magnetism changes. You walk differently, speak differently, hold your head differently. Others sense it. Opportunities gravitate towards you. Doors you never knocked on open. That is not magic, it is resonance. Your inner frequency matches the frequency of prosperity. In quantum terms, you vibrate where abundance exists, and you draw it in. Now, to deepen, let me invite you in your mind's eye to a quiet space. Close your eyes, ZD, if comfortable, and imagine yourself years from now, living in your ideal state, wealthy, healthy, free. See the details: the environment you live in, the people you serve, the contribution you make, the joy you feel. Infuse every sense: the smell, the sound, the texture, the movement. Feel gratitude, confidence, flow. This vision is planting future wealth in your mind. Return to it nightly. Let it become not just a fantasy, but a blueprint your subconscious inhabits. You'll begin to notice that thoughts shift. Where fear once reigned, curiosity comes. Where hesitation ruled, confidence appears. Where scarcity whispered, abundance echoes. Gradually, your inner default becomes prosperity, not lack. You begin to see money not as struggle, but as flow. You begin to attract multiple streams, income, opportunity, partnerships, investments, because your mind signals readiness to receive. As you live from that space, you begin making decisions that align. You release projects that don't fit. You invest in those that amplify. You don't cling. You don't scramble. You move from coherence. Your hours, your priorities, your habits all reorganize, and external wealth materializes, sometimes faster, sometimes in unexpected forms. Remember though, this is not about predicting the exact form. The details belong to the infinite intelligence of life. Your job is to fix the inner. Your inner creates the magnet. The outer arranges itself accordingly. The more you trust this sequence, the more you relax about the how. The how will be delivered. Your responsibility is to keep the inner strong. Therefore, every night, every morning, at every turn, remind your mind, ours wealth begins here. Speak to it, feed it, guard it, translate what you believe into action, but never divorce your action from your belief. Let one serve the other. Over time, this becomes not a practice but your nature. Then your life becomes the living proof wealth, realized, rooted, thriving, born from the mind before it ever appeared in the world.